They say every day is for the thief, one day for the owner of the house. But ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, has reversed the role. It is now every day for the owner of the house. If you're involved in bribery, over-invoicing, or any shady deal, the day of reckoning has come. ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, is watching you. If you're reported for any corrupt practice, you'll be investigated, prosecuted, and punished. Corruption is harmful to our nation. Join the campaign against it by reporting any corrupt practice to ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Let we join hands with ICPC, make them better.
Let's make Nigeria great again.
ICPC, they want you.
Come on, hand for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
An aspect of the Commission's tripartite mandate as enshrined in Section 6 of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000 is to receive and investigate any report of conspiracy to commit, attempt to commit, or the commission of corrupt acts, and in appropriate cases to prosecute the offenders. Today on the program, we shall take a look at a few cases in recent times where offenders have been arraigned in various courts across the country by ICPC after a prima facie case has been established against them. This is Corruption Must Go, ICPC's weekly television program. I am Hawasani Garba, your host for today's edition. We bring you details of some of these arraignments after this timeout. But first, Joy Aja will bring us details of happenings around the Commission.
Hello viewers, thank you for joining us. I am Joy Aja with Anti-Corruption Stories. ICPC has stated that the ideal behavior for citizens is that they should respect laws of the land, keep their words, do their duty with diligence, not get involved in stealing from the government and cheating others through any form of deception. The ICPC Kaduna State Resident Anti-Corruption Commissioner, Prince Hassan Mohammed, made this statement during a one-day sensitization workshop for stakeholders organized by ICPC recently in Kaduna on their role in bringing about behavioral change in the society using the National Ethics and Integrity Policy. The resident commissioner, who represented the chairman of the commission, Professor Balaji Owasonye, SAN, charged the participants to double efforts in spreading the message of anti-corruption to the grassroots and also lead at the forefront in the fight against corruption. In his remarks, Mr. Nuhu Ishaku Buzum, a permanent secretary who represented the secretary to the Kaduna State government at the workshop, reaffirmed the support of the government in the fight against corruption, emphasizing that the present dispensation in the state had zero tolerance for corruption. Participants at the workshop were drawn from civil society organizations, faith-based organizations, community-based associations, the media, youth groups, professional bodies, and the organized private sector. The workshop was supported by the MacArthur Foundation in their partnership with ICPC to mainstream social norms and behavioral change approaches into anti-corruption research, training, and operations. In another development, ICPC recently played host to representatives of the World Bank and the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, on the Stolen Asset Recovery, popularly known as the STAR Initiative. The meeting with the Technical Assistance Mission team from the World Bank and UNODC was hinged on exploring ways that the STAR Initiative can support the implementation of asset recovery resolutions of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, UNCAC. In his address at the meeting, the chairman of ICPC, Professor Bolaji Owasonye SAN, explained how the commission had been managing seized and forfeited assets, especially with the instrument of the Process of Crime, Recovery and Management Act 2022.
On a general note, I would say that poker is still under, still running a test period. I don't think that all the agencies are fully conversant with its potentials and its possible challenges. We have had one practical challenge, for example, paying professionals if somebody manages assets. But because we know that this is a banana peel, we try to avoid completely, because at the end of the day, you just have to be trying to justify an obvious, practical necessity. So if you seize an asset, and we've experienced that, you seize the petrol station. Is it a petrol station that are drawn down in Oyo State? Oyo State. And petrol station is a very sensitive thing and all that. So it's run down with pictures. You have to ask yourself, you have to fix this petrol station. Now, you can either fix it from your regular operational fund or try and fix it from recoveries, which poker suggests. Poker actually gives power to do that. But the problem with poker is that when you make a recovery, you put it in consolidated properties account, which you don't have access to. So if you then need to repair an asset, you cannot take money from that account because it's already there. So you have to spend and wait. And when you spend, you have to wait the next budget cycle. So what is the point? The alternative, same thing if you dispose of assets, you have to pay the professionals, auctioneer, valuers, and all that. Once the money has gone into the consolidated properties and forfeited account, you cannot touch it. So they have to wait for their money. But these guys are not good at waiting for their money. So it's a big problem. You either get no service or you have to pay them first and all that.
While speaking on behalf of the mission team, a financial sector specialist with the World Bank, Elsa Gopala Krishnan, stated that the objectives of the mission was to deliver activities on the topic of management of process of crime, organize workshops for relevant agencies under the recently adopted Process of Crime Act, and conduct meetings on Nigeria's participation in a follow-up meeting to the Global Forum on Assets Recovery.
Increasingly, we have seen at STAR, on the basis of our data collection on recovery and return of proceeds of crime, that almost half the countries use specific agreements to do returns. And so those agreements should, of course, follow a set of principles and be subject, for instance, to transparency and monitoring. That's obviously not always the case. So this is something that we would like to also bring to the table to encourage countries to consider when they conclude bilateral agreements for the return of proceeds of crime.
That will be all on this segment. Corruption Must Go continues with Hawa. Please stay with us.
Fellow Nigerians, do you know that constituency projects are actually your projects? Do you know that constituency projects are funded by the federal government? Do you know that you can track release of constituency project funds for projects located in your constituency and follow up to know how they have been executed? Constituency projects happen because government does not want to leave any community out in development efforts. You have a responsibility to know what constituency project has been planned for your community, how much has been allocated for it, and whether value for money has been delivered. Take ownership of constituency projects located in your community. Protect them because they belong to you. Government knows about your needs and is planning for you. Government needs your help to ensure quality delivery. Know that constituency projects are actually your projects. Protect your constituency project. My constituency, my project.
For information on funds allocated to projects in your constituency, call 0800 2255 4272.
This message is from the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission and the National Orientation Agency.
Welcome back. ICPC has arraigned one Umar Abubakar before Honorable Justice Hafsat Abdurrahman of Adamawa State High Court 1, sitting in Yola, the Adamawa State capital, for demanding gratification in the sum of 1 million naira from an unsuspecting job seeker in order to help his victims secure an employment with ICPC. His actions are contrary to Section 17, subsection 1A, and punishable under Section 68 of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000, and Section 1 of the Advance Fee Fraud and Other Related Offences Act 2006, as well as Section 349 and punishable under Section 351 of the Penal Code Law of Adamawa State 2018. ICPC has also rearranged the former registrar of the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAMB, Professor Dibu Ojerinde, alongside his children, Mary Fumilola Ojerinde, Olumide Abiodun Ojerinde, Adebayo Ojerinde, Oluwaseun Adeniyi Ojerinde, and 6 companies linked to him. The former JAMB boss was arraigned before Honorable Justice Inyang Ekwo of the Federal High Court 7, sitting in Maitama, Abuja, over multiple layers of fraudulent identities and conspiracies to conceal crimes. He was said to have contravened Sections 17, 19, 22, and 24 of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000, and Section 1 of the Advance Fee Fraud Act 2006, as well as Section 1 of the Miscellaneous Offences Act Cap M17 of the Revised Laws of the Federation 2007. The former JAMB registrar, who is also standing other trials at Niger State High Court as well as Federal High Court Abuja for alleged corruption and other ancillary offences, and the other defendants pleaded not guilty to charges preferred against them. Bail was therefore granted to the ex-JAMB boss for terms earlier granted to him by the Federal High Court Abuja, where he is standing trial, while his children were admitted to bail in the sum of 20 million naira each and a surety in like sums, who must have landed properties not below the value of the bail sum and within the jurisdiction of the court. A deputy superintendent of the Federal Fire Service, Augustine Abba, has been arraigned before Honorable Justice F.A. Aliyu of the Federal Capital Territory FCT High Court 57, sitting in Apo, Abuja, over allegations bordering on fraud and employment racketeering. In a 2-count charge, The commission is accusing him of inducing his victims into parting with large sums of money in the guise of securing employment for them into the Federal Fire Service. His action is contrary to Section 8 subsection 1A and punishable under Section 8 subsection 1B of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000, and contrary to Section 320B and punishable under Section 322 of the Penal Code Act. In a related development, ICPC has arraigned an assistant director in the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, Mr. Yediel Musa Takat, for alleged forgery and job scam. Mr. Takat is accused of forging several letters of employment supposedly originating from the Director, Recruitment and Appointment of the Federal Civil Service Commission and offering same to his unsuspecting victims. His actions are contrary to Section 13 and punishable under Section 14 of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000, and contrary to and punishable under Sections 364 and 366 of the Penal Code Laws of the Federation and Section 1 of the Advanced Fee Fraud Act 2006. Counsel to ICPC on the matter, Eno Igodaru Yahya, speaks further on the case.
We received a petition from the Office of the Head of Service concerning job racketeering on an assistant director from the Accountant General of Federation's office. So the investigation team had a search in his house where documents were recovered from the premises, and after the investigation reports, the documents were sent to the legal department to draft a charge. I drafted a 12-count charge against the defendant. Now, the documents that were recovered from the premises, one of which was a letter from the late Abakari, the former past chief of staff to the former president, President Muhammadu Buhari. Now, these documents were used to prepare a charge on the allegations of forgery and impersonation and fraudulent receipts of properties. A 12-count charge was brought against the defendant where he pleaded not guilty to all the counts of the charge read against him. Now, the offenses on the charge was brought under Section 13 of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000 and Section 364 and 366 of the Penal Code Laws of Federation.
A civil servant with the Yobe State government, Mohammed Ali Garba, has been docked by the Commission for offences bordering on extortion, impersonation, and forgery. Garba was arraigned before Honorable Justice M.A. Hassan of the Federal Capital Territory FCT High Court, sitting in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, for forging a letter of investigation activities of an ongoing investigation against the Provost of the Federal College of Education, Uji River, purportedly signed by the Commission's Director of Operations. The fake letter of investigation activities was used to extort the sum of 3,500,000 naira from the said Provost in the guise that he was going to settle the Director of Operations to kill the non-existent investigation. His offences are contrary to and punishable under Section 364 of the Penal Code Act and Sections 10 and 25 of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000. The accused persons have pleaded not guilty to all charges leveled against them. What is the Commission's next line of action?
Having pleaded not guilty by the defendants to the charge read against him, the next stage ideally is the opening of the case by the prosecution, whereby witnesses will be brought to the courts to tender documents that will be used for the case.
By these arraignments, the Commission is carrying out its statutory duties as mandated by its enabling law, the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000, and in line with the rule of law. It is therefore the duty of the courts to determine if the Commission has proven these cases beyond reasonable doubt, and if suspects are guilty or not, and to prescribe the appropriate sanctions. At the conclusion of the cases, when the accused persons are brought to justice, it puts intending defaulters on notice that corrupt practices will always be punished. That's our package on this week's edition, but before we go, this is a call to all Nigerians not to get involved in corrupt practices. Corruption does not pay, but it can cost you your dignity and all you have. Join ICPC to fight corruption every day, everywhere. Don't forget that you can watch the program again on our YouTube channel at ICPC Nigeria, and follow us on our social media platforms showing on your screen. Do remember that you can call us toll-free on the number showing on your screen. See you again next week Wednesday by 3:30 p.m. I am Hawasani Garba, saying bye for now.